to William. I be ballin'. White men can't jump. Or can they?
So,
Hey, what up? It's your girl Ashley. I be ballin'. We're going to review White Men Can't Jump, the original 90s movie, and the remake 2023 version,
mhm.
White Men Can't Jump. We're going to compare them, the similarities, the differences, but we're also, gonna go into, break down each film. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I'm gonna give you guys the real of the real. I'm really gonna spill it. This is coming from a basketball fan. I'm gonna give you guys the real acting, the basketball scenes, the writers, everything. So before I begin, I'm gonna introduce Road to William, WILL.
LL Cool J, I'm back and I am. Oh, shout out to LL Cool J. Dope album to check out. His latest album he dropped last year is really good. Hip hop, if y'all into hip hop, old school. You know, the old schools is coming back. MC Light says she dropping the album. She said it's gonna be more God heavy. So if you God fearing hip hop fan, this is for y'all. I don't know if it's top NF, but
Well,
or Lecrae, but Lecrae ain't been out in the game in that long now. I've seen him. Right? I see him on the podcast. I see you got a pod. Shout out to the podcast people.
yeah,
I ain't seen no music. We waiting on that music. Ooh.
he did release Church Close 4. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it won an award. But yeah, MC Light, she did have a song last year, and I saw the video. It was God heavy, and she even had like Mary Mary on the track, I think. But they weren't in the video, which was weird. Like she had like different artists featured on it, but they weren't in the video. And I was like, oh.
Hey, hey,
But I guess the characters
that's
looked like them or something. I don't know. But that's cool. And Neff, he's not necessarily a spiritual or gospel artist.
mm-hmm.
He talks about God, but he's not really a gospel artist. Lecrae is more of a gospel Christian hip hop artist. And Neff, he mostly talks about his emotions.
He said he never wanted to be in that circle of Christian rappers, gospel rap.
Oh,
Lecrae, he said it a while back.
no. I think he said I guess because when you say you're gospel, some people might be turned off by it.
Mm-hmm.
So they just want to be hip hop rapper or something. I don't know.
But now they got trap gospel, so it's like, well, at this point, who cares? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's broadening because even Kirk Franklin at that time, when he was dropping that music, was kind of like he was stepping out of that water. People were like, "What are you doing? This isn't holy, you know, y'all dancing and all that. That ain't how we do." So I think it's just barriers being broken so people to actually express themselves, you know. I think it's dope. But yeah, my channel, Road to William, we dive into what's going on in the world, the culture. But, you know, I highlight some people along the way on our journey in life to help us keep going on our own journeys. And I highlight people you may have heard of, people you've probably never heard of, shouting out my 414 people always, my cousin. But yeah, I like to highlight others and I like to bring y'all on my journey. So hop over to Road to William. And new videos dropping. We just dropped a video yesterday, so go check that out.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Visit, explore, all of that in a bag of chips, y'all. So, what I like to do with movie reviews is, I like to say, what word describes this movie? you know. And so, I'll describe White Man Can't Jump. The first one, I would definitely say, swish. I would call it a swish because, some buckets, they bouncing, they rattling, it's a miracle, This one, this was a swish. This was a swish. Can't miss.
Mhm.
What would your word be to describe White Man Can't Jump? The first one. The first
The first one, originality.
one. Oh, okay. Originality. Right. It had that freshness. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you guys don't know, White Man Can't Jump, came out in the 90s. Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson. Woody plays Billy Hoyle, and Wesley Snipes plays Sidney Deane. Yeah. And basically, I feel like the 90s, there's definitely some racial tension. There's racial tension everywhere, but like we haven't seen a movie like this in the 90s. So it really hit home, all the jokes and the stereotypes. Woody was the clothes that he would wear, but he also, he got into the minds of his, black opponents. Woody was like, he had a lot of gambling debt. He had a girlfriend played by Rosie Perez. Shout out to Rosie Perez, played by Gloria. She's preparing for her hopeful Jeopardy debut. And Woody is, he's hustling on the hustling. He's like a street hustler with for basketball, not drugs, y'all. Basketball. And he
Right,
has
right,
like some
I
and
don't know if you can use
he
that
has
one.
people after him. Yeah. Wesley Snipes character. Oh, Wesley Snipes character, Sidney. He's like a married man. He has multiple jobs, but he's also, playing on the courts for money, that moolah, that coin, that cheese, that guap,
I feel y'all.
His girlfriend is Rhonda, played by Tyra Farrell. Yeah. Uh,
Go check out my channel. I got a video on her. I ain't trying to say nothing about it.
okay, okay.
But I like to highlight people because she's like a low key underground artist in the acting world to me because we didn't see her a lot. I feel like she could have been in way more films. Her acting range is an understatement of saying how great it is. She was in Poetic Justice, White Man Can't Jump, Boys in the Hood. She's not just in films. She's like in classic hits. And even off the camera, if you go check out her interviews, her mind is clear. It's there. She's there to. She has a clear vision of why she's there. She's not just there to act and debut her skills. Like she's really trying to convey a message. So shout out to Tyra Farrell and people like that building their name.
I think, some people disappear for a while and you never see them again. And then some people reappear and you're like, wow, I remember them. Maybe, hopefully, she can be in those.
Yeah.
Because you're never too old to act. You're never too old. And so, yeah, they're raising child, they're married, and basically they meet each other, right? And they begin to hustle others, right? And that's basically, the film. But there's also a lot of other things that get, that happen in the movie, similar to similar to how, because in in the movie, they start hustling with each other, but someone also gets hustled, you know what I mean? And the ending is it's a big tournament, big tournament. And so what would be your favorite scene of White Man Can't Jump, the first one?
The two ladies come together and they have their own chit chat in the kitchen because it gives them a chance to bond, not just them, but like the guys kind of bond too. Because it kind of shows you like outside of the game, like you have to build the relationship off the court in order to be good on the court. It's not gonna it's not gonna you guys aren't gonna win anything because there's gonna be this like weird competition between you two, and you're supposed to be thinking of ways to beat the other team to score these points.
Come. That's your favorite part. Come. I
Yeah.
did like that part because, it showed the two men's ladies in a whole new light. They didn't just focus on, you know, Billy and Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
their partners. Um, I did like that scene. I liked all the basketball scenes and the slow motion and the poetry, the passes. I love the trash talk, all the getting into the other person's head and remarks. I did like those remarks. And I did like so Marcus Johnson, he's a basketball player. He played on the Bucks. I like that he was in it. He played the guy who he didn't like getting hustled by them. So, he grabbed his gun and, that scene I really liked. And he tried to rob, the gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I liked that part. And I liked how they was like, "Oh, we gotta go," because he took it too seriously. He was taking it too seriously. You lost, just pay up. Uh, I definitely like the relationships. Definitely like the relationships between their partners. Um, with Rhonda and Sydney and their relationships, because she wanted to get out the hood. They got robbed. You know,
Yep.
and I did like the contrast of the couples as well because, there's a part where, Sydney hustles, gets a little payback, hustles, Billy. And, Sydney is having a nice evening with the wife, after they win the big money. And then, he had a gambling problem for sure. Billy had a gambling problem. It was supposed to be a nice evening, but she had the candles, she had the pizza. She thinking, they won the money, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just threw the money away over a bet. And this was when White Man Can't Jump really was. It turned into a classic because a lot of people are like, white men can't jump, right? It was always, they're not very athletic. They can shoot, but they can't really jump. So that was the whole big thing. And he wanted to prove that he could jump, but he jumped at the end, in the big game. That's better. So there was a lot of scenes, a lot of things I liked about this movie. But let's go to White Man Can't Jump 2.
Mm-hmm.
What's a word that comes to mind when you think of this movie? I would say nice try. No, that's actually two words.
Nah.
Let me think of one word. Hollywood. And I'll say this about Hollywood. The reason there's too many, I don't disagree with remakes. I really don't disagree with remakes. Sequels, trilogies, I don't care if you do it. But if you do it, you got to do it right and you can't miss. Because if it's a classic, like White Man Can't Jump was a classic, you cannot miss. And this is what I found out today. I found out, I don't know if this is true, but I found out it was supposed to be released into theaters. But somehow it wasn't, and it went to Hulu. And that's sort of like, that's like a movie that goes straight to DVD or something, or VHS. But okay, so what I'll say is Hollywood. They just want the money, marketing. They think, oh, let's get people that love this classic and bring it back. Let's get their money. This is what also I learned. I learned that guy, I guess the director does a lot of music videos, and he also directed White Men Can't Jump too. I may not pronounce it right, climatic or something. I found out it's also the director from House Party, the
Oh my!
remake.
So
And I'm,
that's that.
and I'm like, the, the the latest House Party that came out, that wasn't very good, So, uh, and I heard this is what I heard. I heard that the director climatic, or is it climatic, or well, anyway, I found out that he's not gonna do remakes anymore. That's what I heard. I heard that, maybe he won't do those things anymore. But I would say Hollywood only because I think Hollywood, they're very into the whole remake genre that we are living in now. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know, and most of the time it doesn't, you know. So, what word would you use?
Um, First word off the dome, better.
Uh huh.
It was better because to me, even though there's goats, like come on, we know Wesley Snipes is a goat, Tyra Farrell, Rosie Perez, that white man. I'm gonna say it's better because although what I was getting at, although there's goats in the first one, it took prayer, it took hold on. It took prayer, 2, 3 blunts, and a nap to rejuvenate, and I still couldn't find myself to like the first one. Now, when I started watching the second one, I was like, I have no hopes. They're not high for nothing. Okay? I don't have no high hopes for this movie because I don't even like the first one. So then the second one comes along. The music is better for me. I'm liking it, right? But then I couldn't stand the film at first. Then I couldn't stand it more because you didn't tell me that Kanan's son was like the main character, and I'm like, bro, the whole movie. I'm like, why did you have to mess with Tasha? That's the whole time I was thinking. This is for the power people. That's pissing me off because I don't like him off of that.
Sinqua Walls, yeah, Sinqua.
Then Jack Harlow, he was doing his best. I think that was his first acting. He was doing his best. But I think he was a little more natural with it. Because the reason why I didn't care for the first one was like the jokes. The jokes was not funny. It didn't hit me. I couldn't laugh. I wanted to laugh. Well, and then they would extend the joke and it still wasn't funny. And I'm like, I'm tired of them with these little, like it, you know how sometimes like in a Tyler Perry show, they'll add extra stuff in it and you're like, that none of that needed to happen. This whole scene could have been cut. That's what it felt like with the film, the whole film. And it got better to me at the very end where the story was kind of tying in and it was none of that extra jokey nonsense. Other than that, yeah. I can't give you a word for this film other than that.
If you had to rate both of them, White Man Can't Jump, the first one, what would you rate it as?
What's your rating bar?
Well, let's just go 1 through 5.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
5.
So what would you give White Man Can't Jump, the second one?
A 4.
You said what?
Or maybe they tied. Because I don't like, it's not like I'm like, oh, but the second one hit way better. Like, I think they're tied to me because I don't like the original, so I wasn't going to like the second
one. Oh, okay.
You feel me?
Okay. I would rate the first one a 4, and I would rate White Man Can't Jump, the second one, I'd definitely give it a 3. And I would say that because I honestly think White Man Can't Jump, the second one, would get better reviews if it wasn't called White Man Can't Jump, or if it was totally different.
They,
But when you
know what saved them? Teyana Taylor saved the movie.
Really?
You're like, what did she got to do? No, that was.
Go after you. I'm actually gonna go after.
Some of it, not to be but for real though, I think some of that was part of her life. Like, not that every aspect was like detailed. I think because she was married to a basketball player, and probably a few of the ups and downs they showcased. Like, no, it wasn't technically the NBA, but it's just as demanding of that person's mindset, their body, and stuff like that. And they kind of dived in a deeper, like, I think the story was deeper and more relatable to this in the second one versus the first one. I think they were just trying to, like, they got an idea, okay, let's put this on camera. And I think we do need those initial films for us to even sit on, our couch or our chairs and be like, no, this, that, you know what I mean? Like, somebody got to put it in for us to even compare it to. So I think this film should encourage people to just don't think about making it perfect, just put it out there. And I think this is a good film that if this film wouldn't have happened, the second one wouldn't have happened. So I think, the rates are the rates, because we're moviers, we movie critiquers or whatever. But we love movies, we know film, we know what connects, we know what hits. And so it's just like, keep making these films because they can dive deeper into all of this. Like I said, Jack Harlow wasn't actually bad because I was out for it. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, we got an album coming out. Is this was time in? Hey, maybe they do. That's usually a best time for artists to like put stuff out. Like, I know Jacob Lattimore would put out some music when The Shy would start coming out and stuff like that. So I think movies can benefit the whole culture, the whole people in it, and I think they just got to keep building, because even in the second one, the dude had a son. Like, is he gonna grow up and be a baller? Is this gonna continue? Like, they could continue it and just keep making it better, so then we can look back and be like, oh, okay. But you just said the director said he's not doing this, so I don't know. So I don't know. Can they keep going or no? I don't know.
I think more basketball movies need to be made, but not this one. As far as the acting, I thought the acting was good. I thought the first one, the acting was way better. I thought the chemistry with Wesley and Woody was way better. Them together and their charisma and energy and their different wits and jokes. And, the action behind it as well, facial expressions, things like that. Even your favorite scene when the two, partners went to the house and they was like, this is how it's going to be. They two was the two of the guys were, babbling, I don't play with cheaters and, you know, different things like that. And I think even though Walls was good acting, he was almost too serious. And that's sort of because, like, Wesley Snipes' character in the Sidney, he was serious, but there was some joking around there. And I felt like Walls wasn't really jokey. And I thought Harlow, there was definitely some similarities with, like, the way they both would dress. However, like, the delivery would be different. And I think that's what it mainly lacks. It's like they Jack Harlow did a great job acting. I would give it a, especially a debut acting, that was pretty good. I just don't think the chemistry and the, like, the creativity of, you know, two leads were, that's what, kind of hurt the second one. But it wasn't that they were bad acting. It's just that, Woody and Wesley, they were so creative with everything, and maybe they're more seasoned actors. Well, Woody wasn't. Woody did at this time. Woody wasn't big time like he is now. Um, but yeah, still. But also, I think the main difference. You said Teyana Taylor saved the movie. I actually think that another big difference is with White Man Can't Jump, the women were way more involved. You know, Rosie Perez, they made a whole segment about her studying and words and Jeopardy. And then this other girl, Jack Harlow's character, was dating T- Tatiana, I think. She was just a dancer and they didn't really include her. And I was like, okay.
You gotta look though. They trying to cater to the newer audience, the younger generation, because back then they catered. Because I was looking at some comments on, I'm a Reddit person, and like people on Reddit were like, "Oh, this is a classic film," and they said, um, they liked how it was so like they captured the best thing that was going on at the time. So like looking back now, it's like, on our iPhone or on our Android, we're like, oh, that's corny. But it's like, no, that's what they had. Like that's what they had. And so Jeopardy was probably like a big hit. We don't know. We didn't live in that. We don't have stuff like that. We don't even have like a big name, one show everybody tunes into every night. It's not that everybody's tuning into something different. And so Jeopardy, like to be on something like that to them, it's like, whoa, and basketball was a heightened sport. And if you were really good at it, hey, people gonna gravitate toward it. People, you can build a name just off the streets. But they're trying to cater to an audience. Dancing is big. People trying to, jump on the wave. You know what I mean? And so dancing is what's going on right now. We don't, unless there's something else somebody's striving to be, either like a basketball player or a dancer or entertainment or something. You're trying to get into something. But I think they were trying to capture what was the time of 2023 or the last 20 years. They was trying to capture that. And 1992 was trying to capture the 90s and the past 10, 20 years of them.
That's true. That's true. They definitely wanted to capture the times because everybody's generation is different. Generation X, millennials, the baby boomers. I don't know all the generations, but but I do think they was trying to cater to this audience because uh Sinqua Walls Kamal and they kind of dealt with like the vulnerability of father and son because he was afraid of disappointing his father because he didn't make it to the NBA, right? And he kept being in his head, and he only played pickup ball, not tournaments. And so they dealt with mental health and self-care and vulnerability, masculinity. And with Jeremy, well, Jack Harlow's character, Jeremy, it was more so they were talking about stem cells because he was always injured and he was doing that whole detox drink and, drinking better for you and stuff. Which I thought Jeremy's whole thing was a little funny because it was similar. Both of the white guys wanted to play basketball and stuff.
Mhm.
But his whole thing about he was taking a lot of painkillers, but at the same time, he wanted to drink healthy. So those two don't really mix. But I just thought the whole G League thing was like not very good. I just thought like
Mhm.
you already have two bad knees,
Yeah.
and you're talking about stem cells.
Yeah.
Just trying to get to the G League. He had to hang it up. Do what you're doing. You're a basketball trainer. Do what you do, and that's him. And and at the end, he was training Tyler Hero with the Woo Saw. Meditation is big now. And even Kamal was getting into the meditation, Woo Saw. Because you do need that, especially when the crowd is saying overrated and blah blah blah, right? And I think Jack Harlow and Tyler Hero, they're really good friends. Jack Harlow has a song called Tyler Hero. With remakes, I don't think this was a terrible remake. You know, I definitely give it a B. I wouldn't give it a C. I think that would be too harsh because the director that made the first one is actually he's not the director of the new one, but they still involved him with the writing process and everything. And I thought that was dope because a lot of times when, they do sequels, the first person that made it is not involved. So I thought that was cool. His name is Ron Shelton, and so he was involved with it. And I think that's why there was similarities. And Kenya Harris, he's the one that made Blackish, and
Oh, okay.
the,
Right.
he's also another one that makes a lot of remakes too.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was involved in it as well, and I thought that was cool. He puts out a lot of black work. I think he is involved in the blackening, I think. If you only could choose one to recommend to anyone, which
Oh,
one would it be? Or would you not recommend neither? Because you're not a fan of neither. You're not a fan of neither.
I'd probably recommend the first one because then if they like that one, they can find the second one.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I would do the same. I would do the same because
Mhm.
you can't really understand it unless you watch the first one.
Yeah.
But maybe I think some people are, still catching up to things, kind of like artists. Like there's artists that little kids weren't born, basketball players weren't, I mean, they weren't born, but they're still looking up these basketball players and these music artists and movies. So I think people are still tuning into biopics and, you know, basketball movies, sports movies in general.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
overall, I think the first one is better, but I wouldn't say it's better by that much. There's
Mhm.
definitely differences. Like
Yeah.
Vince Staples was in this movie, and it was very natural, and it's almost like it's his personality. And Tyler Hero and Blake Griffin was in it. Hot Taylor Rooks was in it. So those are some cameos. Anything else on Vince Staples?
Dope actor, dope artist, natural actor. I'm waiting for the second season to come out of his show, the Staples show. So, but yeah, dope acting for it. Oh, and what was the name of the other guy? He was the other guy on the team.
Oh, he had a nice personality too. Yeah, his name was Miles Bullock.
Yeah, Miles. He has an acting. If I'm not mistaken, he has like an acting class mixed with this woman named Angela Davis, and I'm bringing them up because they were both in BMF. If y'all are in the BMF, and that's what I noticed him from. And so shout out to him. You know, keep acting, keep grinding. That's it. So,
It says he plays Slick in BMF.
yeah, yeah. I gotta watch that for the 10th time again.
Rosie Perez left him and never came back. Versus the second one, okay, Jack Harlow's character got the lady back. Like, so there's some differences. And like Sinqua Walls' character, he got a 10-day contract, right? So it's a more happier ending as well.
Mm.
Um, but I did like that at least they had some backstory to some of Sinqua Walls' character, Kamal, because we didn't really have like those flashbacks of when you're a little kid playing ball in the first one. So I did like that aspect of it for sure. And yeah, the scenery of, Palm Beaches, the beaches, the different courts was on it. It was nice. The basketball was, slick, aerodynamic. Overall, I think they're both worth watching at least once. That's what I would say. It's not going to ruin, your life if you watch it once. um, Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you check out Road to William. Make sure you check out all my different playlists. And also, like, if I'm comparing both, I feel like the 91 jumped out of the sky only because in the 90s, what were your expectations really? You know? And, also, this is the original. So it's like you can't beat an original. But with 2023, if you're comparing it, it doesn't really jump out to you. Like everybody has a different vertical. Like some people can jump over paper, some people can jump over books. If this was a totally different, I would have given it an A. If it was a totally different name, totally different plot, everything, I would have given it an A. But since you're comparing, some people say comparison is the thief of joy. So, you know, but if it's totally separate, then hey, they both get A's. But any last words?
Oh, shout out to they put an OG literally in the film of the new one. The one who played his dad played in Original Gangsters, and I
Oh,
recently just watched it because I'm about to do a review on that movie. Shout out to Gary, Indiana. You already know. But I noticed he was in the film. I'm like, yo, that's cool. They still putting, he's still out there acting. They're putting OGs in the film. So, shout out to him.
his name is Lance Reddick, and he did die in 2023. This was his last film, I believe. And he was in a lot of films like John Wick. If you're a fan of John Wick movies, he was in a lot of them. I think, yeah, he was in all of them actually. John Wick, great, great, great. That's one that's really great. John Wick 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
We need more of that. If you're gonna keep doing sequels and more, we need more of that. But yeah, yeah, he's a great actor, and yeah, I want to say thank you, cuz, for joining me, and everybody. Make sure whatever you do, do not quit, do not stop. Peace, and also stay ballin'.